What if I told you Halloween wasn't just about candy, but about facing the fear that could change your life? Welcome back to Memorandum, where history's icons speak across time, sharing wisdom to guide us on our own journeys. Tonight, we gather around the firelight, metaphorical or not, to explore the mysterious, the iconic, and the deeply human stories behind one of the most fascinating nights of the year, Halloween. Halloween. The word alone sparks images in our mind. Glowing jack-o'-lanterns, costumes, vampires, witches. That chilly October air that somehow feels a little more magical. But for me, when I think of Halloween, my mind does something unexpected. It doesn't just stay in the past. It travels through cinema, through the silver screen, through moments that define how we see fear and courage. I think of Fay Wray, the original queen of screams, whose face in King Kong taught audiences what it means to feel terror and to face it with grace. I think of Twilight, the first movie that made me associate Halloween with misty pine forests and eternal romance. That deep emerald forest where Edward and Bella first stood together is burned into memory, a reminder that even in the shadows, there is beauty. And yes, my mind wanders to Vampire Night, my very first anime that taught me about choices, about darkness, about embracing who you are, even when it's complicated. Tonight, we're going to trace the journey of Halloween, from its ancient Celtic roots, to Gothic literature, to the birth of the vampire myth, and even to the Hollywood scream queens who kept us awake at night, but inspired us to be braver in the daylight. Because Halloween, when you peel back the costumes, is about something very human, the confrontation of fear, and the transformation that comes after. So stay with me. Whether you are anywhere in the world, let's take this journey together and find not just chills and thrills, but lessons that might just light your path forward. To understand Halloween, we have to go back, far back, more than 2,000 years ago. Imagine standing in the rolling hills of Ireland. The autumn wind is sharp, the harvest is gathered, and the nights are getting longer. This was the world of the ancient Celts, who celebrated Samhain, spelled Samhain, but pronounced Samhain. This was not just a party. It was a threshold between worlds. They believed that on this night, the veil between the living and the dead grew thin. Fires were lit on hilltops to guide spirits home and to keep away anything with darker intentions. The Celts wore costumes made of animal skins, masks to confuse spirits, and they gathered together to share food, to tell stories, to remember their ancestors. It was a night of reverence, but also courage. Fast forward 1,000 years. Christianity spreads across Europe, and Samhain becomes intertwined with All Hallows' Eve, the night before All Saints' Day. The costumes remained, the fires remained. But now, the stories started to change. Ghosts became demons, spirits became witches, And slowly, the tradition transformed from a night of fear and honor to one of playful fright. But let's talk about the creatures of Halloween, because they are just as much a part of the history as the holiday itself. Take the vampire. This legend existed long before Dracula. Ancient Greece had the Stygies, blood-drinking bird women. In Eastern Europe, they told tales of the Nosferatu, restless corpses who fed on the living. By the 18th century, vampire panic spread through villages. People really believed they were being haunted and would dig up graves to destroy the suspected vampire. Then came Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1897, and everything changed. The vampire became more than just a monster. He became a tragic figure, elegant, lonely, and powerful. He was no longer simply something to fear. He became something to understand. And then there's Frankenstein, or more precisely, the creature from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Shelley was just 18 when she wrote it. During a stormy summer at Lake Geneva with Lord Byron and Percy Shelley nearby, she created a story that was more than horror. It was about human ambition, loneliness, and what it means to be rejected by the world. These stories, vampires, Frankenstein, witches, all share something in common. They're about outsiders, about fear of death, fear of the unknown, fear of being different. And yet somehow, we find them irresistible. This is where cinema changed Halloween forever. Fay Wray, the original Scream Queen, became the face of fear, and by screaming, she made audiences feel alive. She showed that fear could be thrilling. And for me, personally, when I think of modern Halloween, I can't not think of Twilight. Those pine forests, the cold blue light, there's something haunting and beautiful about them. It reminds me that even in the darkest woods, there can be love, there can be a spark that transforms us. Twilight's story is more than just vampires sparkling. It's about finding where you belong, even if it's with a different kind of tribe. And that's powerful. And then there's Vampire Night, my first anime about Halloween themes. It's a story of duality, about struggling between duty and desire, about choosing light or embracing the darkness. Watching Yuki's journey reminded me that we all have those choices to make, and that the path is rarely simple. Halloween, then, is more than pumpkins and candy. It is the ritual of looking into the shadows, of saying, "I see you, fear, and I will dance with you tonight." Tonight, we remember not just the myths and monsters, but the courage of those who told these stories, who faced their own fears and turned them into art, into legacy. When we look at Halloween, its history, its myths, its creatures, its movies, there's a pattern that starts to appear. Halloween has always been about two things: fear and transformation. The Celts faced fear of death by lighting fires. Bram Stoker faced fear of the unknown by writing Dracula. Mary Shelley faced fear of human ambition and her own grief by creating Frankenstein. Fay Wray faced fear on screen so we could feel brave in our seats. And even today, when you watch Twilight or Vampire Night, you see characters struggling with darkness and growing because of it. Fear is not here to stop you. It's here to shape you. Think about it. Why do we tell ghost stories? Why do we watch scary movies? Because deep down, we are rehearsing for the things we are afraid of in real life. Fay Wray taught us that screaming doesn't mean weakness. It means release. You can be terrified and still survive. So next time you feel fear of change, of failure, of rejection, don't run from it, acknowledge it. Like the Celts, light your own metaphorical fire. Stand in that fear and let it show you what matters most. Vampires, Frankenstein's creature, witches, they are all outsiders. Just like Edward Cullen in Twilight or Zero in Vampire Night, they live between worlds. Many of us know what it feels like to not fit in, to feel too different, too strange, too much. But here's the twist. Every Halloween story tells us the same thing. The outsider is where the magic begins. Frankenstein's creature was not a villain by nature. He just wanted to be loved. Edward Cullen was not just a predator, he was a protector. Zero was not just a cursed vampire, he was a warrior. Your difference, your shadow, your struggle, that might be the very thing that turns you into someone's hero. Halloween is the night when we put on masks, but sometimes wearing a mask is what helps us take the real one off. Twilight's forest scenes, surrounded by towering pines, always make me think of firefighters. Yes, firefighters. Because when I see those woods, I see resilience. I see people who run into danger to protect others. That's what transformation is. It's running into the fire, not away from it. Because something inside you knows that beyond the flames, you will find your next self. So if you are standing in a dark forest season of your life, if you feel lost, scared, unsure, remember, there is a spark waiting, and that spark will turn your night into sunrise. Finally, Halloween reminds us that we are not alone. The Celts gathered around fires together. We gather around screens, around popcorn, around our favorite stories. Tonight, I want you to remember this. No matter where you are, anywhere in the world, you are part of this circle, this story, this shared firelight. You are not just watching a documentary. You are keeping alive an ancient tradition of facing the dark and coming out stronger together. As our fire burns low tonight, I hope you feel what I feel. That Halloween is not just about costumes, candy, or even scary stories. It's about looking fear in the eye, finding courage in the dark, and realizing that transformation is always possible. We have walked with the Celts under ancient moonlight, faced vampires in Frankenstein's creature, heard the screams of Fay Wray, wandered through the pine forests of Twilight, and even stepped into the haunting halls of Vampire Night. But most importantly, we've learned that fear is a teacher, that outsiders are heroes, that transformation is our birthright, and that we are never truly alone when we gather like this. If tonight's journey touched you, if it made you feel a little braver, a little more inspired, I'd love for you to stay connected with this community. Share your thoughts below. Tell me what you've faced and how you've grown, or what Halloween means to you. Like this video if it gave you something to think about. Subscribe to Nefertiti Memorandum so you don't miss our next episode, because every episode brings a new icon, a new lesson, and maybe even a little more courage for your own path. Our next episode is coming soon, and it's one I think you'll love. We'll be exploring another iconic figure from history whose journey through struggle and triumph will light your way forward. Until then, keep your fire lit. Keep facing the shadows. And remember, even in the darkest night, you are never truly alone.